Hello and welcome everybody to the book writing and publishing webinar. I'm so excited to have you on right now for you to get ready to start the new year off right. This is going to be one of those things where if you've been struggling to write a book, we're going to teach you some things tonight. So just get ready. It's going to be jam-packed. I'm trying to take so much information, days and weeks of information and just trying to cram it in to this small webinar. So some things we're going to try to, dive a little deeper in, and some things we're going to skim, just kind of thinking that you may already have some of those basic concepts. But if you don't, it does not matter, right? It does not matter, because we're going to go through enough that even if you don't have those skills, at least now you're going to have some information to be able to research on, right? So let's dive into this real quick. So my intro here is, first of all, I'm a publishing and publicity expert. You can check out some of my books. All of my books made Amazon bestsellers, made the bestsellers list. And my most recent one this year, Stop Majoring the Minors, made #1 bestseller on Amazon. So this is everything that I've done here. This is the basics, right? So you becoming a best-selling author is the easy part of that. That's so gimmicky nowadays. And I want you to kind of, stray away from that idea of having to be a best-selling author. You could become a New York Times best-selling author, not trying to take anything away from being a New York Times bestseller. It's something that every person that is an author should strive for, if that's what they want to do. But understand that that's not the point. You want to sell books. You want to sell books in volume. That's what matters. Is get away from this concept of having to be best-selling this, best-selling that, right? Just for these titles, because oftentimes these titles that we seek when it comes to writing books are the furthest thing from the truth. And it's so easy to get, but they don't tell you the true facts about writing a book and getting a book to get sold. And that's the most important here. It's not just writing the book, but actually selling the book. Some people that might be on this webinar right now may be in that kind of like gray area where they really want to leave their job and want to go full time and follow their dreams and all the stuff and want to be the writer. Let me tell you, from the front end of that, there's some things that you got to do in order for that to happen, right? And you just don't want to leave your job that you have right now, that's securing a lot of things that you got going on in your life that you haven't planned for, to decide that you want to build a business. And I see so many new authors coming into the game just writing just for the sake of writing, because someone's told them, like, hey, write a bunch of books or make a bunch of ebooks, right? I don't want to go too far in this, but this is what you're going to get in this webinar, all right? The truth, the unadulterated truth about book writing and what it means if you're really trying to turn this into a business that makes money, that you actually can replace what you're doing right now, all right? So I've mentored a lot of people, and I work with a lot of different authors, aspiring authors, and people that want to share their story. It may not be through this medium here that we're talking about with just the book. Books turn into movies. There's all types of doors that a book will do for you. And I also want to make sure that you focus on that more than just seeing some ribbons and saying, okay, Amazon bestseller. Is more to it than that. You're trying to build a business. There could be times you write a book. My first book that I wrote, I said I made the bestsellers list, right? I hope you're paying attention. I didn't say I made #1 anything on my first book. First of all, that book, Becoming Who You Should Be Despite Who You Are, right, is a great book. You should read it. Go out and get it. But that was my very first book. That was me not knowing much about anything. And then the part of me that just says, get something out. Get it out of you. And that's what we're going to talk about, is getting it out of you. But at the same time, it's not just about getting motivated to get something out, but how do you go about doing the thing? How do you turn this into a business? How do you get this to supplement your coaching business that you may have? Like there might be some people that don't want to necessarily do it full time, but they want to do it at least that they can supplement what they're currently doing. All right. So real quick, guys, if I can at least give you one key piece or some information tonight to help you publish your book in 90 days or less, earn revenue while you're doing it, making money off this book, meaning, we're going to dive a little deeper into that, but talking about before you even put the book out, people are putting money in your hands. Think about that. Let's want that to let that marinate, how you can really turn this into a business, right? If I can show you how to create that revenue from those books that you wrote, show you some different principles and some different techniques that you could implement, do I have the permission, right, at the end of this workshop to share how you can work with me? Okay, I got a couple of people say yes, definitely, definitely. Come on, let's get it on. Okay. All right, all right, all right. So check it out. Let me give you an idea of some of the things we're going to talk about, right? The first thing we're going to talk about is a 4,000-year-old strategy to creating a recession-proof business. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. Recession-proof business. So if I'm seeing that, the first thing that's coming to my mind as a business owner or as a person that aspires to being a business owner or entrepreneur is when you say recession-proof, what that means is that I won't be affected if the economy tanks like it did in 2007. Meaning I'm going to create a business that I'm consistently and constantly going to make money. That's what I would be hearing with that. And that's what we're going to talk about. How writing a book is this age-old strategy of creating a recession-proof business. The numbers don't lie. See, people lie, but the numbers don't. Learn the good and the bad in the editing process. So many people get caught up in the editing process of their book that they forget some main critical points. And the main critical points is they don't know what they're doing. And it's okay because there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can learn by trial and error and get judged on it, because people will get up on these blogs and people will get on to your book and give you a nasty review real quick. I want you to understand that. So think about that, learn the good and the bad and how important certain parts of the editing process you need to ensure that you're putting out something that, number one, gives value to others, right? And can give value to you in your situation, right? Because it's a fair exchange in this world. If you give something, then you get something back. Some people call it karma. What you put out is what you get. So you're going to put out a good product. So if you wrote a book that's about your life and all the things that you went through, and you feel the pain and the passion of that, and you give that to the world, some people say, well, I don't need a payment for that. And that's okay if that's you. But for those out there that says, yeah, I need a check for that, right? Don't feel bad about that. It's okay. Don't be ashamed of feeling that way about it, because I share something with the world that was great, a piece of me. It would be nice if I could continue doing that and still getting paid. See, that's the fascinating thing about this, is when you can create a life for yourself that you're removing yourself from a lot of the extraness, right? 4 myths you've been led to believe about writing a book, right? We're going to talk about the 4 myths you've been led to believe about writing a book. And 4th, we're going to go 10 steps on becoming a best-selling author in 90 days or less. Now, for those that hang in there, right, because it won't go over a lot of information, but for those that hang in there towards the end, guess what I'm going to give you? And I didn't even mention this in anything beforehand, but this is what you're going to get. You're going to get my strategic plan on how you can write one book and make $100,000. Now, some people, $100,000, that's life-changing money, right? Life-changing money. So I'm going to give that concept to you, my concept that I created to kind of give you a clear, concise idea of how to make your first $100,000. For a lot of people, if they made $100,000 writing their book or doing something that they like, they will walk away from their job today or tomorrow. Think about that for a second. So the 10 steps of becoming a best-selling author in 90 days, plus how you're going to make your first $100,000 in writing and publishing. I'm going to give you that blueprint, that plan. All you got to do is hang in there towards the end. All right, who am I and why should you listen to me? All right, first of all, I was blabbing earlier talking about, my books, how they made the list. So I perhaps have a little bit of credibility with you on that. But outside of that, because these things can be fact checked easily, but you really don't know much about me. So first of all, I had a beautiful life where I've gotten an opportunity to meet a lot of people, right, from all parts of the world. I've gotten an opportunity to share my life, share my mother's story. I lost my mother March 26, 2009 to lung cancer, the closest part of my life. Heart broken to 1,000 pieces when she left here, to, slipping from time to eternity, right? And, I spent the majority of my adult life in the military, enlisted at first, then got my commission, was a commissioned officer. So at the end of the day, those things don't really make anybody. And at the end of the day, I believe that if the information is the information, take it. Stop worrying about what someone does, that they have to deliver or tell you exactly what it is that they did in order for you to believe them. Go and check it, see if it's legit, but a person doesn't have to do all these things to be able to teach you something. And I think we've gotten away from that concept. But there I go again, digressing. So also won a lot of community awards and stuff like that. I love helping people. And that's why I'm having this webinar, because I love helping people. Some people are going to like me. Some people are going to hate me. This is me in my raw form. I don't know how else to be. So couple of my whys, number one, team success. I love seeing other people win. This is why I'm doing this tonight. I love seeing other people win. I want to leave a legacy for my children, right? My family is very important, in financial freedom. Not all the money in the world, but financial freedom, meaning you can do the things you want to do with who you want to do it with, when you want to do it, how often you want to do it. Ooh, that's mine, right? That's how I feel about that, right? Just everything's about family. If you can bring that family together, and let me tell you something, it takes resources to do these things, all right? Because of my books, look at this, right? First of all, you got to think of a great title and make an eye-catching cover. So I don't have in this particular deck, but for those that send me email, I'll send you some of the rough drafts of the title, the covers of these books. So the finished product is nowhere imaginable of what you see right now, right? Because you got to think of a great title and make an eye-catching impact on people. Because what happens is, if you go to a bookstore and you see a book, or you see a book online, right? That, you read the title, but then you look at the cover, right? The title may grab you, but what's going to keep you is when you first see it. It's no different when people go out and they're shopping for an apartment or a house, right? When they start going through pictures on the MLS system, and they, all the pictures that the realtor sent them, at the end of the day, the first couple of pictures that they see, if it does not meet their requirement, they do not even go any further with it. They can have the right bedroom, everything is right, but just because aesthetically it does not look good, they pass. They go on to the next one. So it's very important that you create a eye-catching cover, right? And I see some questions got forwarded to me. Where do you get covers made, right? So I don't want to dive too deep on that, but there's places like, there's the Fivers of the world. These are gig platforms where freelancers go there and they participate in helping you make covers and those things. We also do covers as well. But I just wanted to give you that option and let you know what's out there. You have to be careful to make sure these things aren't copywritten. And the key to it is being plugged into a community of people that can, share their opinion with you, because, they're not afraid to hurt your feelings, right? Because you want something, if you ask someone, say, hey, how does this look? If they can't do it themselves, they might say it looks good, even if it really doesn't look that good, or they don't want to hurt your feelings, or they might be scared of you. You might be their boss or something. So they're really not going to give you their true opinion. But when you plug into a community like we have, you're able just to go in there and kind of like, ask and get honest feedback, so you can kind of get a clear idea of if people are willing to work with you, would like that cover or not. Would people really be willing to pick it up? So, it's very important to that. Next thing is developing a plot. Like, what is your book about, right? And that's for both fiction and nonfiction, right? A lot of people think, plots and everything is for, just fiction books, but you got to have a plot. You have to have an idea, a centralized theme about what your book is about. So that's very important. And the third one is creating an interesting, realistic character, right? So this part kind of goes a lot for the fiction writers, right? But you're painting a picture in your reading, and the best thing you can ever do is connect with people through stories. So even when you're writing a nonfiction book, you want to throw some stories. It's very important to be a very good storyteller, right? It's not just jotting down a bunch of stuff out of your head that just sounds so robotic. Make that connection, right? Develop these stories in there. Tell stories so you can connect with people. People understand things through story. One of the greatest books ever in history, as we may know, as some may refer to. But you have to teach. If you want to teach people, you want people to learn a concept or get a more value, teach them through the art of storytelling. Not just telling someone what they shouldn't or shouldn't do, should or should not do, right? Create a narrative in your book. Even for the nonfiction, you have to create a storyline. Everything's a story. Get in the concept of everything's a story, right? All right, so bestseller over a couple of different categories. And like I said, this is just proof. This is what I did at the beginning of last year. It's very important. That's why I'm launching this webinar now, is because I'm getting ready to do it again, but I'm going to do it at a whole nother level, right? So I launched it on January 23rd. It became #1 bestseller in 3 different categories, right? Literally less than 48 hours. I want to say like 24. I'm going to say 48 hours for a fact. All right. 48 hours for a fact, I would say, because I know we wound up getting some more categories that we became #1 in. So, and that's just one book. I kind of released 2 books at the same time. And so those last 2 books, Stop Majoring the Minors and How to Write, Publish, and Profit, which is kind of what this webinar is about, it's the same thing where, I made #1 in that book. And I didn't make #1 in that. I got on the bestsellers list even before the book actually launched. I just want you to think about that for a second. I got on the bestsellers list before I ever sold 1 copy. All right, so we're going to talk about, some of the things that authors struggle with when it comes to releasing a poorly edited book. All right, writers, their books are poorly edited, and it just spells self-published. And we got to create an environment to protect like the indie side of the house, the indie empire, those who want to be independent, that we have to have a certain level to checks and balances in that. Because what happens is that we get a lot of, and you got to think about it, when you have players in place that their job is not really to police as much as they are to make money, that's when someone can take a picture of their foot, put it in the book, and sell a bunch of copies of it, right? Like that takes away the validity of self-publishing self-published authors and indie publishing houses. So we have to be mindful and truly understand these stats, understand these numbers, and know that there's not just something that's just thrown up there, right? Even in this presentation right here, guess what I missed, right? Formatting, right? See how the editing process, releasing a poorly edited presentation, right? So let's talk about this editing process here. So look, so we see spell check. Let's start with, matter of fact, let's start with the big one, right? Let's always start with the biggest one first, right? So 75% of it is writing, right? That's how much it is. When you start writing your book, 75% of it is going to be the writing part of it, right? About 2% on spell check, 7% of it needs to be on editing, 16% needs to be on formatting, right? So it's formatted. Well, it's actually spelled right. It's not formatted right. So it wasn't technically a spell check because I see the G's over here. So it's not formatted right. So you got a book and it wasn't formatted right. Would you be happy? Right? So that's 16%. And then uploading it to a computer, whatever, however you're going to print it, ebook platform, or whatever the case may be, that's only 3%. Right? Everybody see the numbers, right? So we're all in agreement. Everybody saying yes. All right, Cynthia, yes. 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 No. Okay. Someone said no. Who's that? Who's this? Okay. I don't want to butcher your name. Give me a thumbs up if I pronounce it right. Felipe? Let's call you. Okay. P. Okay. He gave me permission to call him P. All right. So P is saying no. Okay, P. Explain why is no. Everyone's saying yes, right? We just broke this down. I'm trying to teach, people how this formatting is really set up, and you're saying no. Okay. So he's saying that the editing part should be a little bigger. Does anyone agree with that? Let me see. People saying, yeah, it should be at least 10%. Okay. 15, 20%. I mean, we would have to adjust these other numbers, right? Okay. That's interesting that P didn't go with the crowd, but everyone else kind of co-signed in there on the messages and said, yes, this is right, on point. And one person went against the crowd. So P, send me an email at support@selfpublishedcentral.com. I got something for you. All right. So for all those that said yes, this is the editing process, you are absolutely wrong. This is the actual the publishing process, right? This is what it looks like, right? And my numbers are all jacked up, right? Oh my goodness, guys. Y'all don't even know. But anyway, so the other one, because I kind of remember this out of my head, the other one was, you remember that so uploading makes up 8%. Somebody's gonna check me on the numbers here. Spell check makes up 2%. The blue, which is the actual writing portion of it, is 25%. The formatting is 20%. Editing is 20%. And then I think I said formatting is another 20%. So all in all, it breaks down. Writing is not the majority of your time. It's not taken up just on the writing part of it. So let's talk about the first myth. The first myth people have is that, well, I'm not an expert, right? So I don't really know where to start. writing a book. I don't even know if I would start writing a book. What am I going to talk about? No one's going to buy a book because I don't know anything, right? I bet against you on that. So you know a lot more than you think, and you know a lot more than people are actually willing to pay you to hear what you have to say, right? There's this thing called YouTube, Facebook, where people are getting paid, right? You're getting paid on these certain platforms just to have people looking at them, right? Just to hear what someone has to say. So even if it's BS, then they are expert at BSing and they're getting paid for it, right? Don't knock the hustle. Whatever someone got going on, just respect it. That's all I tell people, like, just respect the idea that you don't have to be an expert, but you kind of are in your own unique way. All right. Myth number 2, right? A lot of people say, well, I don't have a list. I don't have a following, right? Well, how do you build a list? What techniques do you need to build a list? Sometimes I have people on the webinar that are just newbies in the game, and it's okay. And those that are a little bit more experienced, don't get mad when I start talking about these things, because I'm trying to help those that just jumping the ship right now. They just got on, right? And they don't know these things, right? They don't know how to set up an email list. Matter of fact, there are some people on this call on this webinar that probably could consider themselves to be an expert, but they don't even know what an autoresponder, right, or CRM is, right? They're not running those in their business. They're not even actively on AdWords creating campaigns, because that's when you really get into business, right? So I don't want to beat anyone up about that, but you have to have, you don't have to have a list or a following to get started. There's ways on how you can start building that and getting the momentum that you need. So you don't have to have no list or following to write a book and to make money off of your book. There's ways and things that you can do to make a difference on that, right? Myth number 3, I'm never going to be able to get a book done. Like, I don't have enough time. I just know that I can't just sit to the computer. I got kids. I got the kids jumping on me. They jump in the ceilings, cross, you know what I'm saying? They're getting ready to run outside. And, you know, just so much going on. I cannot sit just still at a computer and start hacking out a book. And I say to you, I understand. But a lot of those people that have those type of lives, they probably live in a big city. Let's just say live in a city, right? You're battling almost an hour and some change, or if not more in certain cities, traffic. How about you start writing a book then? I talk about that. How you don't have to have a pencil and a pen, right, to start writing your book. You don't have to have a computer or a tablet to start, right? I show people how to do that, and I can show you how you can start writing your book in your free time. When you just, the times that you go into the bathroom, you're writing your book. You know, you're driving down the street, you're writing your book. Some people are like scratching their head right now, don't know in the world I'm talking about, but we know how to push you past that. I know how to push you past that idea of, I don't have enough time to do it. Yes, you do. And I'm not talking about some forced thing. I'm not talking about coming in and overhauling your whole life for this to happen. I'm just helping you identify certain areas that you didn't even know was there. Think about that for a second. Certain areas that you just didn't know was there, right? So the first thing we're going to do in this exercise, we're going to talk about brainstorming and book writing goal. What exactly is your goal? What's the primary purpose for you trying to complete this project? You know, for you writing this book, what's your goal? Is it to make money? Is it to change lives? Did you go through something? Do you have a story you want to share with others about something tragic or something heroic that happened in your life? What is that goal? Because that's what's going to help you really fine tune the audience you're looking for, right? Because if you're trying to show people how to be courageous in their lives, it might be people that went through some courageous situations, people that have dealt with some grief in their life, some people that have battled some things, and you can relate to that. particular niche, however you want to say it. You can identify yourself with that. All right. No one's going to see this. This is you coming out and saying exactly what it is that you want and why you're doing it. Right. And then the second part, step 2, is refining your message. Now that you know why you're writing the book, it's time to decide exactly what will your book be about. That, and then, adding that last cuff to it is the why. What is it going to be about and why, right? Based upon that first one, why are you writing it? What does it mean to you? And you can totally be honest with this, because at this point, no one sees that, right? So you may have a more internal why that you don't want to share with the world of why you wrote this particular message, but you felt like you wanted to share that. Hope that makes sense. All right. So when it comes to refining your message, this isn't some high level overview where you can say something like, I want to write a book about branding, right? So that's too broad in nature. You got to dig deep and clearly define your book's unique message, right? And for some people, like, well, I don't know what that is. If you need to talk, let's talk about it. Let's iron that out, because there's some things you're gonna have to ask yourself. Who is, number one, who is your ideal reader? Who's gonna be consuming this? Some people write a book and they don't even think about who are they writing to. Is it gonna be more appealing to younger people, older people? Based on ethnicity, culture. Who am I targeting? Right? What are their life like? What medium do they use? See, a lot of people, if you create a product that could be good for a particular sector of people, but that sector doesn't use certain technologies, right? So now you've created a product that's not able to be delivered on that particular platform. And that's what a lot of people do. What are the life like? Let's just say you're printing out books for these young people, but you didn't think about developing your own app so you can house your own books, right? So that you can say, why do I need to be here? This XYZ platform is not promoting me. They're not promoting me. Why can't I just create my own platform, and when I make a sale, I get paid on that? Because number one, I understood who my readership is, and I know that they're digesting it online, not paperback. These are things that I encourage. I hope you're taking notes on this, but these are things that people don't think about, right? And we're just scratching the tip of the iceberg here, but these are things that people don't think about when they get ready. This is a plan. You plan it out to make sure your structure is secure. You're building an empire. You're building a house, a mansion, right? And when you build that, you got to make sure you're on solid ground, right? You got to know that once I build this, everything's gonna be in place. But if you're printing out 100,000 copies of your book, but the target market that wants to digest that material is on a Kindle or some electrical device or on their phone, and instead of you developing your app to be able to capture that, know your audience, right? And then develop that message. All right. So what's hot right now is a couple of things. What's your area of expertise, right? Unique insight that you can provide, something different. There's a lot of people in a whole lot of different spaces. And I'll be honest with people all the time. I'm like, there's 1,000 different courses and programs and stuff, and people are undervaluing information. But, that's the way our society is. It's transformation. So you looking at this, I'm trying to make a transformation in you that you can go from, I've been talking about writing this book for 10 years. I can go to the transformational state. First state is take action. Where am I now, and what can I immediately do right now? One thing that I can do to move forward in what I said I wanted to accomplish. What's that one thing that I can do right now? And it's something we all can do right now in the pursuit of whatever it is that we're trying to do. So that's the area of expertise and providing value. What's hot? What are people? When I hear the word "what's hot," right? It depends on where you're trying to write. Some people are just trying to write to make money, and some people are trying to write to make a connection. Well, if I know what's hot, I can write something to bring a different crowd of people, connect with them on their level to bring them on my level so I can introduce them to something new. These are things that people don't think about. You're writing this book. This book is a business. Just think each little square you put out is a business in itself. How are you going to promote that business, right? How are you going to be able to connect with others? What models are you going to, what research have you done, right, to make that happen? And these are the things that we teach. One way to define your message is distill it down to the core elements. Is to write a back, we call it a back cover blurb. It's when you're gonna write a little snippet on what your book's about, right? And why, how are you going to change the industry? How are you going to get someone to dig in their imagination more? You want to be thought-provoking. You want to change a person's body chemistry when they're reading your book. Somebody got that. So you want to do that. And I'm not being funny with that, but you want to evoke emotions out of people. And that's both fiction and nonfiction. Connect with people. Connect with that storytelling. That's the one thing. If you take nothing from tonight, connect on that storytelling aspect of it. It's going to save you. It's going to be the saving grace, because we have the attention span of a goldfish, but people remember stories. Our brains are set up in that way. We remember stories. We're taught using stories. There's a reason for it. And that's going to help you redefine your message, because maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's where you're stuck, is that you want to write, but you don't know exactly what to write about and how to go about writing it. And that's refining your message, getting that assistance you need for that. And the most important part of it, now I'm a military guy, so the most important part of that is research or reconnaissance, right? Because you got to do your research. You got to know what exactly it is that you're getting yourself into, right? What's this, what exactly am I writing? Are there other people writing about this? Is this something that a lot of people write about? Is it even worth me taking the time to write about it? Ask any top-selling author, and they'll tell you the biggest part of writing is actually reading, researching. You simply cannot hope to write a book that will appeal to your market unless you know what they already know or what they're already reading. So you're regurgitating information to people that they already heard, right? Because you're not up to date. You say, well, I know what I know. You're in a vacuum. As an entrepreneur, business person, get out of that vacuum. Do the research. Do the work. So, just think about it. A lot of people live this life where, and it's funny, because a lot of people live this life where ding dong, the doorbell rings. They come down, boop, 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 down the stairs, and they look out the peephole and they see one of their friends got some overalls on, all greased up, dirty, with some gloves on. So, hey, bro, open up. I need your help. He might go back upstairs, act like he didn't hear the doorbell. Because when he looked at that peephole, his friend looked dirty and looked like work. And that's sometimes what research looks like to people. Ding dong, the bell rings again. Look at the peephole, got a friend with a surfboard, looking cool, glasses. Hey, man, opens the door. Know why? Oh, man, he looks like fun. You got to push past just having fun. Life won't be fun later on if you keep on having fun now, right? You got to do the work that's required. You got to do the research in what you're writing about. No ifs, ands, about. Don't shoot from the hip, right? Don't copy other people's work, right? But you got to do research so that you can formulate your own ideas and opinions to share along that human experience, right? During the research phase of your book, you're going to look specifically for top sellers in that particular niche. Are there any individuals writing already about your particular niche that you're getting ready to talk about? All right. If you're in a nonfiction, fiction category, are there anybody writing about that particular genre? When's the last time somebody wrote something similar to that? Right? Because now you can base some things off of that and formulate your own strategic plan off of that. Right? So these are things that we talk about here. You want to pay attention to the book length, right? Does your market prefer lengthy, in-depth books or short ones, right? You don't want to write a 300-pound personal development book. Chances of it will not get read, right? People read parts and pieces. There's books from well-known authors that I know that I have not read that whole entire book. I've read what I wanted to get out of the book and went on about my business, right? But just imagine if someone was to go through a book, and these are some of the top authors in the country, and someone goes to the book and reads certain parts of the book and they get out of it. You got to have something for them to pick. That's what the research part of it comes in. You got to know what you're talking about, right? You don't want to create something that's not relevant to anybody. Then they're not picking it up at all. It's not even getting into their hands. They ain't nothing to pick up. You want them to purchase the book, bring it home. They may not read. Don't get offended when your friends don't read your books. They're going to read parts and pieces of it. No one is not disrespectful to that author. Maybe some people may feel that way. It's not to me. I don't see it as being disrespectful that you picked through my book, right? Because you might have certain pieces, certain keys you may already possess, and I said this, that, and the third, and that is what elevates you to the next level, so you can connect to that next mentor, right? There's levels to this, so it's not just about where you're at and all that. Like, even coaches, if you're a business owner and stuff, share with other people around in your environment. Why not? It's more than enough out here. You only can maybe give somebody X and Y. Let somebody else have to give them C and D, E, F, G. Wherever you fit in the alphabet, you just pick where you need to be able to deliver and allow that person to move on. They may outgrow you, and that's okay. Anyway, the point of the matter, what I'm trying to say here is you must do the research, right? Because you want to, all the broad topics, they may have slang, different things. You want to be able to make that connection to the audience you're trying to get to. Let me try to speed it up here. All right. So help is on the way, guys. So here's a few resources we got. So one is the book brainstorming workbook. All right. So the book brainstorming workbook is basically what we kind of went over. So those couple of exercises and step 1, step 2, that was a part of that workbook. That workbook is going to, one, help you with your book writing, establishing your goals. We talked a little bit about that, didn't ride all the way deep in that. Refining your message, understanding your story matters, doing the research, outline and organize your content, goal setting, deadlines, time management, especially for authors, creators, dealing with distractions, procrastination, one of the main ones, actually should have been number 1, because that's what stops so many people, procrastination. And there's a whole assortment of other book killers and ideas, things that's going to stop you. Choosing a publishing platform, so important, where you're going to publish, how you're going to publish, right? Those things are very important. And understanding they will judge your book by its cover. We say don't judge people, by, what do they say? Don't judge a person by their, what was it? Oh Lord, it just slipped my head. That's crazy. One of the worldly sayings in the world, and I just forgot it. Don't judge a book by its cover. But we do. Think about it, how many times they tell you not to do it, but that's one of the things that's ingrained in us to do the complete opposite of what's being said. Now tell me that's not some psychology for you, that the more you hear no, 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 you believe it. But in our psychology, the art of telling you not to do something is telling you to do the same thing that you say not to do. We say don't judge a book by its cover, but how many of us are guilty of judging somebody just by their appearance? right? You know, oh man, you know, let me look out. This person look kind of, you know, sketchy. That's the word, sketchy, you know. So, and then finally, launch planning, right? And this workbook, a lot of, and being part of the experience, a lot of it is me helping you. You know, I teach through stories. I'm constantly always telling stories. So this workbook right here is $99. That's all it is, $99 to get you on the road of beginning. Originally it was $299. I got it just for you being on this webinar and spending this time with me. It's going to be $99, right? So go ahead and get that workbook and start out right. Have a strong foundation, right? So let's talk about the 10 steps to becoming a best-selling author, right? Everyone wants to be a member of the National Academy of Best-Selling Authors. Everyone wants to be a New York Times bestseller. I'm telling you, don't get stuck on that. You want to create a book and sell books. You want to sell numbers. You want to sell volume, right? You want to sell volume. And this is going to mean a lot to you according to how you publish. And that's another story, because you can make these books, you can get these books done, but according to what kind of vertical you're using. And what I mean by vertical, meaning your delivery, how you're going to get it to your customer. Is it going to be a hardback? Is it going to be electronic? And who electronic is it on? And who paper is it being printed on? Those things are going to matter more than these things. And I want you to understand that these are just extras. They're just padding on the cake. You want to create a connection with your audience that these things don't matter. It didn't matter if New York Times didn't pick up your book or not. You're still making money because you're running a strategic business, right? Number one, step one, we're talking about creating a great cover. Someone asked earlier about the cover design. Like, there's all types of ways we help with cover design. Cover design is very important in your book. People judge books by its cover. Your book won't even get clicked on to even read a review if you're doing an ebook, or people not even pick it up off the shelf if they see it because it's not appealing to the eyes. Remember, we like certain things looking a certain way. You want things to just jump out. You know, stop measuring the minors. You know, even this is one of the old copies of it. But you think about it, it's stop right there. Stop what you're doing. You want to grab people's attention, right? You want to do things that's going to capture someone's attention real fast and real quick. All right. Step two, title and the subtitle. Now, next is the title and the subtitle. Looking at the cover, a lot of people judge that now, or vice versa. It can go either way. Some people look at the cover and decide if they even want to go see the name of it, if your name is not already on the front of the book or what have you. But catchy title resonate with almost everyone, right? Having something that's very catchy. Clear subtitle that speaks to what you're gaining by reading your book. These things are very vital to your book. These are one of the most important things, right? Because that's what's going to help you get books sold, right? So that someone can be willing to come in the book and pick your brain for whatever different things that you put or manifested in that book. But they got to pick the book up first. So most important is that cover and that title and subtitle, right? Step three, book contents, right? Having this thing formatted correctly. I see a lot of people, and I think there's one particular, no, I think there's a few of them now that actually has it now where when you upload that book, it breaks down your chapter heading. So something as small as this. So this is like a little tip here. People are publishing books and wonder why it gets the nod, and they send it to somebody that really somewhat know what they're doing. But these people are just throwing some people are just throwing any codes in there and messing up your table of contents, right? Because if that person really doesn't know what they're doing, you're paying, you don't know what you're doing, but you know that, let's say Amazon, for instance, allows you to upload it, but when a person clicks it, it goes to something else or doesn't properly connect with the book. Now, I think Amazon's trying to fix some things with that, but what if you had a problem with a book and, you know, you're it just kept freezing up on them because you went and got some random person to get your book formatted correctly. Make sure you're doing the research of the content that you're putting in the book and making sure that it's formatted, because that's the first thing people are going to see. They open up a couple of pages. How's the content set up? Is it properly formatted? Does it look? Is it pleasing to the eye? All right, step four is a book web page, right? A book web page, not your normal website, right? Each one of your books should have a website. you want to promote a following on that website, because certain people may resonate with something for whatever reason. They resonate with that. So you have to be willing to connect with them on that platform, right? So person may like this book, and now that's a big following. Think about Tim Ferriss's the 4 Hour Work Week. There's a whole community around that book, because of people that want to live that lifestyle. So he wrote something that touched so many different points. All right, step 5, category selection. This is very important. You have to select the best category for your book that's meaningful to your book, that connects to your book, that's relevant to that category. And then also knowing, what categories you may want to stay out of if you're trying to get yourself on the bestsellers list, right? There's some categories that, some famous authors there, and a whole bunch of people in that particular niche are posting books relatively around the same time, and you want to post yours, and you're just kind of like a new person in that arena. You could get lucky and really get a bunch of sales, or you could not. My chances is I would know when other people in my particular niche are launching, and kind of getting a fair idea of knowing what category they're going to most likely be in precisely, and maybe stay away from that category to not drive my rank down. That's a whole nother conversation. They're much deeper conversation, but soon we're not going to even have to deal with that. So step 6, the Amazon authors page. Amazon's just leading the way. I mean, that's just what it is. Amazon's definitely leading the way on this, publishing and a whole bunch of other e-commerce that they're doing. So you got to have an Amazon authors page called Author Central. You got to set that page. Go on Amazon Author Central and set you up, add your picture, you connect your social profiles to that, because then once you publish that book, for the most part, most people are going to publish on Amazon, that you want to make sure you already have an author page set up to go ahead and capture that book, to connect to your page. You can connect your social media there. Only thing that's doing is giving you more credibility, and more credibility in what you're doing, and putting you in a centralized place where people can honestly see it. So it's very important that you have that, because this helps the social, we call it social authority, website authority. So you want to have that. All right. Step 7, launch on Kindle. All right. So being on Kindle, it's a whole nother concept. Making sure your book is on Kindle. You want to make sure it's on Kindle. It's one of these devices are in so many people's hands. They're so cheap to get. And that's by design, because they want to get people on their platform. They want people to use their stuff, right? So how important is getting your book on Kindle? There's ways of getting your book out there without putting it on Kindle, right? All right, step 8, launch on paperback. Some people want to do ebook, right? So there was a myth back before, and I think they're still perpetuating this idea. So there's some people out there that want a hard copy of your book, right? And this is that concept that a lot of people has been in the publishing industry for so many years. They can't let it go, right? Printing books is going to be sooner or later going to be a thing of the past, right? It's going to be like having a VCR or 8-track or something. You know what I'm saying? It's like having, like, who uses CDs anymore? So technology is changed. So understanding, once again, where people are going at. So if you're an author, aspiring author, and you say, hey, I want to make my books on ebooks, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But if you're going on a platform, it's almost one of those things that if you're going to sell all the way out. Don't sell somewhat out and miss out on other opportunities if things were to land in place. Something's always better than nothing. It's better not to even sign the contract initially, but if you're going to have to, there's no partial, because you still don't, but that's a whole nother conversation. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a difference between ebooks and print books, right? Big difference, right? A lot of platforms, when you go, I want to just give this out real quick, that your ebook has to have a different ISBN number than your print book. But if you're on Amazon, for instance, you don't get two ISBN numbers. It's on their platform. I'm just saying. Just want you to think about that for a second. Where else is your ebook being distributed? All right. So making that decision of what do you want to be, an ebook or a print book, and why? You have to know those whys in that. So more than just someone teaching and giving some information you can get online easily. This is teaching that there's some other things behind the scene that if you do not know and you make these mistakes, you can pay for it later on down the road, right? Step 9, bestseller promotion. You got to know how to properly promote your book. And I'm not gonna, you can't dive deep into that without that's days and days worth of stuff. But that bestseller promotion is knowing how to strategically line your business up, your book. That being said, book business, setting up in a way where you know how the system works and able to use that to your advantage, right? But if you don't know how it's worked, you never even enter the race. You never enter the marathon, because it's a process. Everything is not just one day I get on and I'm gonna be a bestseller in 2 days. And there's people that do stuff like that, right? But it doesn't mean anything if the money doesn't follow, right? Unless you just want to do it just for a hobby. And I think most people that's on this webinar are really serious about writing a book, and they're real serious about taking their lives to the next level. And there's more to it than just, doing it for fun. Hey, I want to change some things going on, right? So these things are important, and there's ways that you can get them, but I'm still going to drive home the fact that these things are not as important as you making money as a result of you writing and publishing your book and becoming that subject matter expert, that authority figure in that particular niche. And 10, celebrate. Knowing where to go. Knowing is it even possible for a self-published author to go to Barnes & Nobles and sign books? Is that possible? Knowing if you can do that, is it a possibility I actually get my book in Barnes & Nobles? What's the process on that? Can I get my book in Walmart? Can I get my book at the airport? These are things that we talk about that a lot of people, they're not teaching that. Some people, are just, can you just do something? Well, let me give you some information over here, put this together, you remix it, and bam, you got a book. Is that truly what you want to do? Right? Myth number 4. I don't need help. Some people, I don't need help. I've already written a book. My question then, well, is it selling? No, but I know it's a good book. How do you know it's a good book? Because I wrote it. Okay, I know you wrote it, but that doesn't mean that it's a good book. Maybe that's why it's not selling, right? Maybe that's the reason why it's not. Or maybe, you got all the right ingredients, but you left out the eggs, which is one of the most important ingredients. Or you replace what was supposed to be sugar, you replace it with salt. So don't get in that mindset where you don't need help because I've already published, or I published and, oh yeah, I did become a bestseller. Okay, show me your back office in Amazon. Let me see how much you're still selling. Because you can get those titles, but is it coming with a check? And that's what we're talking about. I'm not trying to focus just on money. People write stories for every different reason. There's people that want to do it just for the sake of doing it. And I applaud you. There's no problem with that. I'm just speaking from a person that's trying to make this a business, right? That there's certain things you are going to need, and you are going to need help along the way. All right. Let's talk a little bit about this little hidden secret here. So, one, if you get an ISBN through Amazon's creative space, will that impact any decisions about getting your book elsewhere? And I'm not going to go and explain that. Because at the end of the day, I want you to research it yourself and understand what exactly it is that you're getting yourself into. There's nothing free. All right. So when you start getting the free ISBN numbers, you need to read your terms, which is service, your terms, service, and conditions, and all those things. Privacy statement. Know what you're getting yourself into, right? Because this is not a hidden secret or anything. This is just what it is. If you get a free ISBN number under your particular title, you can't print with anyone else. Right? So if you try to take your book to another printer, you couldn't print it unless you did locally, but most places you could not print. You'll use your ISBN number, you couldn't print. Look into it. I'm not going to go into a big deal with that, but you got to understand that you might want to get your own ISBN numbers. First thing as an author. First big lesson, if you didn't get anything, get your own ISBN numbers. Right? Ownership is everything. Ownership is everything, right? So when you're not making money, a lot of it has to do with ownership. You got to know what you're getting into. You're getting into a ring, fighting a fight with someone, and you don't even know the rules. It's whatever they tell you, you just believe it. So know the rules of the game before you enter. So this is definitely for aspiring authors or people that are already authored some books, and they're like, man, the money's not coming. There's some reasons why. Okay? So I just wanted to share that with you. All right, so we're going to talk about the plan here. So let's talk about the profit pipeline, right? So let's look. You got social followers. That's the Instagram, YouTubes of the world, all those things. You got 3,000 people following you. You're making $0. You got zero revenue, right? You got a lead magnet out there. We talk a lot about lead magnets. We talk about funnels. We talk about webinars. Matter of fact, what you went through to get to this webinar was, guess what it was? It was a funnel. You don't have to be the smartest person to have tools in place to do these things. You don't have to be smart. You just got to know, I need to put that in place and let it do its thing. So you got to talk about lead magnets, webinars like you're on right now, right? 1,000 people showed up, make $0. Zero revenue. You're like, man, where you going at with this? You said you can make $100,000. Well, I'm going to show you. All right. You do a self-published book. You make a book. And I'm really going to take the word self out of there. There ain't no self. It's just published. That's just the word they attach to it. You're a published author, not a self-published, published author. All right. So let's say you got 100 units. You got your book printed, 100 units sold at 10 bucks. That's $1,000 right there. Right. Live or online events. People are having summits, different things where they're having guest speakers, and they're speaking remotely for a summit or a live event to teach you a concept or principle that you may not know, right? You get 100 people to participate at $100, that's $10,000. Then you start doing the speaking engagements, a little bit more than what I would do. Me personally, in my life, I wanted to be a speaker and realized how much their life sucks. It's not the life for me. And I'm not speaking bad about any speaker, and whatever they do, they say they enjoy it all for them. That's not me. The most I would want to speak would be 4 to 5 times a year, if that, right? And some of those probably would be spontaneous ones. I'm not one to like to just go and do those things, speaking engagements, right? Premium online course. You got a course for $1,000, $997, right? You get 20 people to sign up, that's $20,000. Right? You do a mastermind group, something we're going to talk a little bit more about to help you get on track about that. You start a mastermind group. You got 20 people at $1,200, right? That's $24,000. A coaching program, you got 5 at $3,000, $15,000. That's $100,000. That's the blueprint right there, guys. That's the blueprint. That's the blueprint. That is the blueprint right there. You're looking at the screen, looking at the profit pipeline for a book business. These are not hard numbers. These are not hard numbers. This is realistic, but that's the plan. That's like a chessboard, right? You got your quadrants there, right? You got to know how to move your pieces when. And then a lot of entrepreneurs, the problem that they're having in their business, they do not know when to move those. They don't know how to move throughout the different quadrants, right? And that's a whole nother concept, right? So help is here. Help is on the way. Help is on the way. And help is here, right? You can sign up for the Creators Inner Circle monthly coaching program. Today only, it'll be provided $199 a month for the first 30 sign up. Now, you're gonna be saying, "Oh man, that's a gimmick. Hey, you just trying to get us to sign up." I promise you, I'm not. But number one, you just can't sign up for this program. You got to get interviewed to even get accepted. We don't want to work with everybody because at the end of the day, we got quotas and things that we got to meet, right? We got to prove that what we're doing works. And if you're not willing to work, then we're going to have a problem. You can be that person getting on social media saying we didn't do right. We're not having it. So at the end of the day, we can't work with everybody. We don't want to work with everybody, you know. So you're going to be part of a community of people. There's over $2,000 value that I'm saying I want to do for the first 30 people that commit to this. I'm going to do $199 a month for you. That's it. I mean, I'm debating the price right now. I'm like, you know, I'm giving my time away. I'm you know, when you're making money. You don't have to give stuff away. It's like, I want to work with only certain people, right? Because only certain people are going to be willing to pay a certain amount. So I'm not getting tire kickers and people that just they want to test things out. This is not something you test. It's you just do it. It's not that you don't have testing, meaning you're in the experimental phase. You know, you're testing to see if it works. So people are like, well, I'm going to test to see if you don't need to test it. It works. But while you're testing, you're not doing, because you're trying to figure out every reason why you shouldn't do it instead of trying to do everything you should do to make it work. Because you're more focused on why you shouldn't do it, right? So in the Creators Inner Circle, and see, that's conversations we have. Everyone can't deal with that, and that's cool. Continue, you know, struggling, trying to figure out how you're going to do it. But for those that serious want to be part of the Inner Circle, you're going to get 30 minutes of one-on-one consultation, video call per month with me or one of my coaches, most likely me. I like to talk, and I want to get to know each and every one. 30 one-on-one consultation video calls with myself, right? Only way you get a team member if I'm sick or just can't do it. But I schedule these things out. 30 minutes one-on-one consultation, video call per month with me. You can talk about anything you want to talk about. Business, whatever you want to talk about, we're going to talk about on that call. And I like to talk. So I said 30 minutes, but I've yet to be, anyone that knows me, I've yet to be on the phone just for 30 minutes. So, and you probably can tell that by this presentation, I've never been on the phone with somebody just for 30 minutes, especially when it comes to business and life. And you know, it's never a 30-minute conversation, right? You know, 30 minutes, hey, man, I'm talking to you real quick, 30 minutes, man. Just give me 20 minutes. Give me 10 minutes. 10 minutes would be 3 hours for me. But anyway, I'm just saying that's just me. That's just my nature if I connect with you. We're also going to have weekly group coaching via email and app SMS messaging, meaning that you ask questions, give you a deadline when those questions need to be handed in, and then you make sure that you put those in, and then I'll get up there in that week and start answering emails and questions, and I do that personally to be able to connect with you, answer any questions that you may be having with your book writing process, implementation things, because this is a coaching program. This is me telling you what tools you need to get, what other things you need to put in your tool belt in order to have a successful book writing, publishing, and launching and profiting process, right? So that's part of it. Then we have our exclusive weekly group video presentations / discussions. So once a week I jump up, usually live for 60 to 90 minutes, and we talk about questions, things that you're going through. How can you figure out, how can you work through your business on some things? You know, having hot seats where we take, you know, 1 or 2 people, depending on the time we have, 1 or 2 people and start dissecting their business right in front of you. So you can see. So maybe some things that you're dealing with, but you're embarrassed to talk about it. But, you know, Susie over here that wants to make $10 million in the next couple of years, she's willing to get in the hot seat and let someone dissect her business and what she's doing wrong. She's willing to do that because she wants that $10 million. And while you're scary canary over here, you know, working on that job, getting mad every Monday morning, you know, you stay over there, but you get to hear what we're going to talk about. Because you're too scared to ask, but that person is. So at least you get to hear. So if you do want to make that transformation, you want to make that shift, now you got the information to do so, right? and ask questions. And it's usually towards the end we do a question and answer assessment. We've had these things go 3 hours. Now I'm not trying to go 3 hours. We got a lot to do. But when I get to talking, everybody knows how I am. I get to talking, and we're gonna have a conversation. Hope you like me, guys. Hope you see this. Hope you like me. Hope you want to connect with me. But this is me. I don't know how else to be. All right. How to set up your book with new resources, right? What new resources, what new tools you're going to get. We're going to talk about all the little shortcuts and things you can do. When I say shortcuts, it's meaning a more effective way to do it, right? Don't mean we taking the road of least resistance our way. And it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It just means that new resources that's going to allow you, instead of, going different directions and cutting in, is a straight line in. Straight line distance is always shorter than a curved line distance, right? This is going to be straight. It's just shorter. It's like, this is shorter than bam, bam, right? So determine the best niche for your book. We're talking about targeting. So these are things that we talk about on our one-on-one talk that we have once a month. If you're part of this program for 30 minutes, we talk about helping you establish your niche, help you identify your audience, who it is that you want to reach and why. Also talking about different resources, talking about even another time to connect will also be during the weekly group video calls. It may be someone asked an interesting question I think a lot of people may have, and I just address that in the exclusive weekly group video, right? Identifying, so we are talking about identifying your target marketing audiences, how to get your book published in 90 days or less, right? I believe you can get your book published less than that, but it depends on what you're trying to do. But I like to, under promise and over deliver, not the other way around. So for some people, it might take them a little longer. For some people out there, it might take them 6 months. I hope not, because the process is so easy that there's no reason for you to have to take 6 months to do it. 6 months. There's some things that can happen. I've had some experiences where project took a little longer to do, but it had everything to do with the author wanting things to look a certain way. And this was for a book that had illustrations in it. So those things are a little different. And those are those things that are random things that happen. But for the most part, you can publish in 90 days or less, right? 24/7 email support. And what that means is that you can send a message 24/7, and we're gonna handle that email the next day, right? So, but doesn't mean that someone's gonna respond to your email 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock your time, a.m. in the morning, because you had too much coffee, you can't get to sleep, you're all excited about writing your book. No one's gonna take you back. So I'm gonna let you know, in 24/7 community, when you get on the platform, you actually get to see. You really get to see how who's up there, when, if they're green, they're up there, and maybe you got a question or opinion, or maybe you see something they uploaded, a project or something that they got uploaded. It's our own social media platform, so you actually get to be a part of that. So those are the things you get. Retail, $2,000 value, $199 a month, right? $2,000 a month, every month. I don't care, unless I could tell you that I could, get you making $30,000, $40,000 a month. You wouldn't want to do it. You wouldn't want to do it. But the thing about it, this is a possibility for you to be able to open up different doors. You may be able to travel further than I have, right? Because you were just missing this particular element, this particular piece. So just think about that for a second. All right. These are how you can get a hold of me. Is support@selfpublishcentral.com. The Book Creators Inner Circle is, once again, is by invitation only. So it's nothing you can actually fill out today. It's by invitation only because we don't want to work with everyone. We just don't. And I'm not trying to be funny. Anything else, you can check us out at pinnaclepointpublishing.com. Right? So not trying to be funny or anything, but we're just trying to ensure that we work with the right people. So, if $297, $299, $399, $499, any of those prices upset you, you might want to be one of the first 30 to get on there, because you're going to be grandfathered in, because that $199 is not going to be up there for long. This is something that I'm opening up, trying to help people moving into 2020 that want to really take a grasp on their ideas and share their stories with the world. And I'm willing to take a risk and bring you into my world and show you how you can do this, how you can actually be successful and live the life of your dreams, right? It doesn't matter what everyone else thinks or how grand something may be. If you're happy, you might be an author out there that wants to write one book and make $30,000, $40,000 a year off that one book, and they're perfectly comfortable with that, right? But the thing about it is, they know if they wanted to get 60,000, they may need to write another book, right? So they can scale. They determine how much money they want to make, and whatever amount of money that they have that they're comfortable with is, let's write another book, write another professional book, not just garbage ebooks. Not trying to knock ebooks, but just saying having a book. I'm definitely not trying to knock ebooks. Ebooks are the future. Audiobooks are the future. All right. So those are things that you need to be working on, definitely. So once again, you can reach us at support@selfpublishedcentral.com, or you can reach us at our toll-free number, which is not up here, at 1-866-222-3940, and talk to one of our specialists, and they can get you that interview, that entrance interview, and we can see if we're a good fit for you and vice versa. Once again, check us out at www.pinnaclepointpublishing.com. If you're an author, already an author, and you want to get your book featured on our website, please reach out to us at support@selfpublishedcentral.com, and I will pull your book from the catalog to get printed for you and sent out. What I mean by that is we do print books. So that whole platform is for those that want a hard copy of their book. So if you're an author that has a hard copy of your book, you can let me know your number, ISBN number, and I can pull it, add it to our catalog to help you with your sales as well. With that being said, we do have Scribble coming out later this year. We did launch Scribble Skills. And we're going to launch Scribble Audio in our audiobook program. It's going to be audiobook and also continue to do print as well. So we have a lot of things coming your way. So please ensure stay plugged in. And if you got any questions, please send all questions to support@selfpublishedcentral.com. And if you're interested about the Book Creators Inner Circle, just give us a call or email, and we'll get you an interview and have an assessment done to see if we could be a good fit for you and vice versa. All right, guys. Appreciate you hanging in there, and look forward to seeing you on the other side. It's Brandon L. Draper signing off, President, Founder of Pinnacle Point Publishing Inc.